long time ago in a console generation far, far past, we couldn't have imagined controlling a game by simply waving our arms around, much less one that equips us with a lightsaber. Kinect Star Wars does just that, and despite its teen rating, it's unquestionably intended for youngling Padawans. Does it provide a conduit to Force-enabled greatness, or is its midichlorian count too piddly to measure?
May the Force be with you.
Looks like we're ready to go!
What story elements you'll find in Kinect Star Wars are scant. R2-D2 and C-3PO have been assigned to the Jedi Archives, which acts as a hub area where you access the 5 individual games that comprise the collection. The Jedi Destiny campaign, which puts you in the role of a young apprentice, serves as the main attraction. After a brief tutorial that teaches you the basics, an invading droid army comes along to ruin the party, providing an opportunity to make use of your newfound skills.
Not give in to your fears.
There's a bare-bones attempt at narrative here, but the effort serves merely to bridge one scene to the next, a task it barely accomplishes. One moment you're on Kashyyyk destroying hordes of invading droids, the next you'll be manning the gun of a ship in a large-scale space battle. For the most part, though, you'll be on foot, lightsaber in hand, taking on large masses of enemies. The entirety of the campaign is completely on rails, and this suits the game just fine. As evidenced by the Rancor Rampage mode, Kinect Star Wars is at its worst when it allows you freedom of movement. One of the better executed diversions in the package is the Podracing game, which has you following the story of Tatooine's shady gambler Watto as part of his racing team.
Do you have to hit everything on the track?
The motion controls do a decent job of replicating how you'd imagine a pod racer would handle, but the experience is short-lived. As long as you can reliably place third or better in the races, you'll see all that the Galactic Circuit has to offer in about an hour. Once you step off the winner's podium, you can indulge in the Galactic Dance-off, a rhythm game that, to put it lightly, borrows quite freely from Dance Central. New songs and characters are unlocked when you hit higher ratings, and if the varied moves and track list aren't enough to keep you interested long enough to work up a sweat, the chance to see Han Solo breaking it down in the carbonite chamber just might. The aforementioned Rancor's Revenge, which involves clumsy, poorly executed rampages in control of the titular monster, is the definite stinker of the bunch. Though not quite as clunky, Duels of Fate follows close behind. By turning the dueling portions from Jedi Destiny into a standalone series of one-on-one encounters, it focuses squarely on the mode's worst elements.
We've been hitting the capital ship, but we could sure use some help.
Lasting about 2 hours, Jedi Destiny mode is the main course of the collection. Think Kinect-powered Dynasty Warriors on a much smaller scale. Once you engage enemies, you can slash them with your lightsaber or batter them with the Force. The motion controls are a bit touch and go in these sections, but they generally won't stop you from feeling like an all-powerful Jedi, since the hordes you encounter seldom put up much of a fight. This isn't the case with the boss duels, though. These heavily choreographed one-on-one encounters demand a consistent level of precision that the motion controls simply can't deliver. To make matters worse, the entire Duel of Fate mode consists exclusively of these encounters. The controls in the pod racing game feel much better by comparison. You control your left and right thrusters individually with your hands, and this works surprisingly well. The act of turning, braking, and boosting almost mimics an analog level of responsiveness, making it easy to forget that you're not actually thumbing a set of sticks. The scheme stumbles when it comes to deploying power-ups and sabotaging droids, however. Doing so will cause you to momentarily lose control of your racer, which basically rules out their use, especially when you're playing with the assists turned off. For those looking for the full-body experience, the Galactic Dance-off will have you moving every one of your assets in time to hip-hop and pop tracks, many of which have been re-engineered for the Star Wars universe. It more heavily samples Dance Central, though, with a user interface that seems like it was cloned in the labs of Geonosis. It works just like you'd expect it to, and if you're into dancing games, this is a decently accomplished one. If you're incapable of being charmed by the sacred cows of the Star Wars canon behaving in untoward ways, though, you may want to pass. Conversely, Rancor Rampage is unlikely to charm you in any way. The goal is to achieve the highest score possible by wreaking havoc in a sandbox environment, but the act of simply moving around is too much of a challenge, let alone interacting with anything outside of immediate flailing range.
Well, that's that.
I know you don't have fingers, R2. In your case, the size of your... oh, I don't know, your polarity sink.
Kinect Star Wars effortlessly sounds the part, from the trademark score to the distinctive sound effects. The Jedi Destiny mode looks the part enough to fool you, provided you don't stare too closely. Robots split in half with glowing scorch marks, and the game doesn't hesitate to fill your screen with the brilliant effects of lightsabers, blasters, and explosions. The sense of speed in the pod racing is tangible, and the Galactic Dance-off game isn't afraid to take its film-faithful backdrops to some unexpected places. The Star Wars-themed cover songs are a whole other story, though.
Man, every young hotshot in the Outer Rim comes gunning for me sooner or later.
They will not escape us.
Kinect Star Wars certainly has its moments. Many of the individual games exhibit occasional flashes of brilliance, and the absurdity of the Galactic Dance-off bears witnessing at least once. We just can't recommend picking up the entire package in order to do so. However tempting the notion of hands-free lightsaber manipulation may sound, Kinect Star Wars is not versed enough in the ways of the Force to realize it.